My name is Lisa Dew. This is my husband, Derek Dew. We're from Walpole, and we have 3 children. We have Justin, who Kevin mentioned is a sophomore here. We have Ryan, who is in 8th grade and an accepted student, and we have a girl, Ashley, who is in 6th grade. And before I talk a little bit about our experience and why we chose Xaverian, I wanted to tell you a really quick story about our family. And when Derek and I started our family, we talked a lot about Xaverian because Derek had a very positive experience here. And when we had our first boy, we were thrilled. So we thought, oh, someone going to Xaverian to follow in Dad's footsteps could come into fruition. And then we had another boy, and we thought, oh, wow, this is doubly great. So we thought when they were about 4 and 6, how exciting, we're going to attend Family Day at Xaverian. So we got in the car, and we came here, and we showed up, and there was this giant person in a hawk uniform, and we pulled up, and the kids were petrified. They screamed like anything, and we had to get back in the car and leave, and all the way home they said, we're never going back there. So that went on for years, that story, on, and we thought, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get them to go back there? Well, lo and behold, we did. And when the time came and Justin was in 8th grade, he became very interested in Xaverian. He is now very happy, and we're equally as happy. And what I'm going to tell you is going to reiterate everything you saw in the video, what Mike Reilly also spoke to you about, and I'm happy to share in their thoughts. First of all, I call Xaverian the total package, and that's because it's very interested in the scholar, the sports, the athlete, the clubs, and also the spirit. So just to talk a little bit about the scholar, when my son Justin was a freshman last year, they changed the curriculum a bit, and they had physics as a freshman. And I know taking it as a junior in high school was very difficult. So taking it as a freshman was very confusing. It was a completely new subject matter for him. And he was really struggling, and he was someone who was always used to getting straight A's. And he thought, what am I going to do? So I'm sure you've heard a lot about the career centers here, or the subject centers here. And Justin went to visit with his teacher. And he met with him several times just to figure out the concepts of physics and to get to know what this teacher really wanted. Well, it was extremely helpful, and Justin became much more successful in the subject and more confident. And he was able to move his grade up 5 grade points from the beginning of the year. And he was really thrilled, and he knew the teacher was there to support him anytime he needed it. So the career centers here are very, very helpful. And I think Justin wasn't used to going for help. He wasn't that type of student. But knowing that it was available and knowing that it was okay was a great experience for him. Also, not only are the teachers available, but like the video mentioned, they really do care about you as a scholar, but also as a person. There was one day when Justin was experiencing a severe headache and had to leave class. So we went to the nurse's office. And a few periods later, the teacher, whose class he left, came down and checked on him. Well, he came home, and he didn't even care that he had a headache. He spent 2 periods in the nurse's office. He could not believe that a teacher took time out of her day to come down and check on him to make sure that he was okay. And a little bit about, sorry, this microphone has a mind of its own. So I wanted to talk now a little bit about okay. So next I wanted to talk about the sports programs, the clubs that are offered, the athletics here. There are so many. I can't even begin to speak about them all individually, but I will say that there's something offered for everyone. And if you're willing to think out of the box, which I believe Justin did, there's something that you can find, and maybe something you never thought you would try that you might try and go to. I often hear him say, there's so many things I want to do on Thursday, I don't know which one I should choose. And so I encourage your boys, if they do decide to come here, to really explore and think out of the box and try something they maybe never thought they would. When Justin came home and told us he was doing ultimate frisbee, we thought, what do you mean, you're not going to the park to throw the frisbee around with your friends? This is really a sport? And it really is. And he loved it. He also told us that they might be offering a tea club. And we thought, tea club? Okay, what's going on here? But he said, Mom, they serve us food and drinks, and we just sit there and talk. How great is that? So again, we talk about the total person. So we talked a little bit about the scholars, them as a scholar, about the sports and the club program. But I also want to talk a little about the person as their spirit. Xaverian holds each boy responsible. They look at them as being productive, and they look at them as being caring members of society. When someone from Xaverian looks at these young boys, they often say to them that you represent Xaverian not only when you're in here during the school hours, but in the summer, on the weekends, every time. You have that responsibility to represent Xaverian at all times. And I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful message for these boys to always keep them on track. Also, they talked about being a productive member of society. And by that I mean they hold every boy to be accountable and to be able to work towards their ability, whatever that may be. And lastly, a caring member of society. We talked a lot about the campus ministry program, and I know for our son, he was part of that where he volunteered at Christmas in the City, and that was really life-changing for him. It's been very important for me and Derek to make sure that our kids appreciate and value what they have. And I think Justin, being part of Christmas in the City, he was really able to see these underprivileged families and children come in, and that was their Christmas for the day. He couldn't wait to sign up the following year so that he could bring those giant smiles to those kids' faces again. And he did, and he hopes to be a part of that for a very long time. And lastly, something that you don't hear very much is parental support. I think one of the great things is that we receive an email every week from Brother Dan. And my first year, when Justin was a freshman last year, we read the emails and I thought, wow, these are great. But as each one came, I couldn't believe the message in them. It was as if he was speaking to us directly. One of the examples would be after the first term this year, you look at your son's grades and you think, okay, he didn't get all A's or he got 1B. Well, what happened to that 1B? And that's the product of our society. And no sooner did we get those reports in, we got our letter from Brother Dan, and he said, certainly look at those grades. Those are very important. We need to remember that's one component of your son. Is he learning? Is he trying? Let's focus on those things and not just the grade. And I emailed my husband quickly and I said, oh boy, I think he's talking to me. Another example is just recently with all the snow we've had. It's been very distracting. It's been distracting to our family, but it's been really distracting to these boys. I know in our house when Justin will start homework and then he'll wait, Xaverian, no school, and he'll run away from the computer and say, I'm not doing my homework. And so it's been very hard to keep him motivated. And I kept thinking, what can we do to keep the motivation with 2 days off, going back to school for 3 days? Well, no sooner did that happen, here comes the email from Brother Dan reminding us that they are young boys and to help them, and that's what our job as a parent is to do, is to help them and guide them and keep them as motivated as we can. So again, was he speaking to me? I hope not. I would just like to close with one story, and that is when you're walking around the Xaverian campus, and your son is here for Hawkford Day, and you're here to drop him off, I just want you to look at the boys that you see here and say to yourself, is this what I want my son to be in the future? Is this the type of person that I want him to be at the end of this journey? And my guess is that your answer will be yes. I know that if I were in a college admissions program and I had 5 Xaverian boys come in and apply, I'd probably have to accept all 5.
A lot of what my wife has said is the same as what I'm going to mention. And I think if you listen to Matt Greeley and the video, it's a very common theme. It's the whole person. It's making you a better person. And your boys may not know that right now when they go through this. I didn't know that when I was going through Xaverian. But it makes you so much of a better person. Your values, your philosophies, just your beliefs. And I really, truly think that they do a great job here. I'm going to speak about kind of my view from being a graduate here, coming back to Xaverian and having now a son here, which is exciting. Some exciting times here. I mean, the school has grown, they've blossomed, they have great facilities here. I'm so jealous of all that. But really, the commonality here is still just the beliefs and the values. And I think a lot, as I went back to open house the first time last year, a lot of the teachers are still here, and that says a lot. It says a lot that teachers are here for a while and they're invested in our kids, our boys. And I think they have the right formula there. It's not right for everybody, but again, it really depends on what you're looking for. You know, I look at, you know, not only the teachers, I mean, Mr. Lally, who's been here forever, you know, has been here since I was here, and, you know, and it's funny when I saw him for the first time again 2 years ago, and I still call him Mr. Lally, and I'm like, I'm afraid of him still, you know, it's just the way it is, you know, and he is scary. But it's just, you know, you see classmates now come back, and they're now teachers here, they're now, you know, athletic coaches here. There's something to be said there where you may not understand that, they may not understand that when they're going through it, but you really are, as they always say, brothers for life. You know, I have a quick story where I haven't seen a lot of my classmates in probably 30 years since they graduated, and then we just had you know, with Facebook and everything now, we had a kind of impromptu kind of get together for the Patriots game. And it was great to see everybody. People coming from Japan, people coming from DC, all over the place. And it's like we had seen each other yesterday. We talked about, you know, obviously rehashing stories as we get older, but it's just the same value where they really appreciated the experience we had, whether it was academic, whether it was athletic. It was just really brothers for life, and just the relationships you build here are tremendous on that side. So the thing I want to go through is just my view of my experience way back when, and now the experience as a parent as well. When you think of Xaverian, I think of a great education. They prepare you for college, but they also prepare you for life in general, okay, at an affordable price. And that's where I think the key is. When you summarize that, Brother Dan's done a great job, Mr. Laz's done a great job, the whole administration's done a great job as far as keeping up, keeping competitive with all the other schools here. You know, going to Xaverian 30 years ago, I honestly came here for hockey. I grew up in Sharon, didn't have a hockey team, and I was all about sports, okay? So it was about hockey, it was about baseball, and it was like academics, you know, I get that side of it. And then the other piece, the social side of, you know, I'm not sure they're boys, but hopefully they've communicated the whole concern about not having girls here as well. And I think that it's a touchy subject, but I really think that you really do get focused here, because there's all the other ancillary stuff you don't have to deal with in a co-ed. And it's not for everybody, but again, I think it was right for me to be able to focus on the academics, the athletics, and your socialization on that side of it. They'll always have the socialization, especially this day and age of social network, for the women or the females as well. So I know that can be a concern to a lot of people here, but I don't think it's as big as a concern as people think it is overall. Coming to here, I was very challenged. It was tough day to day. They really prepare you for college. And you know, if you talk to anyone that's gone through Xaverian and education here, it really is a lot easier when you're in college. And they do it in a way that's very balanced. Like my wife said too, they know your child. They know where to push the buttons, they know where to push, they know where to offer support, and they have great resources here. The resources here, bar none, you know, probably the best that I've seen. And I've been to other block your ears, Mr. Lyon, but I've gone to other high schools too to kind of look at some things here. But really, the resources are tremendous here. The teachers are open to helping no matter what. They're available, basically from, you know, as Brother Ray said, not only from 8 to 2:30, but until 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You know, you're expected to stay here. And I really do encourage, for those people that do come, is that it's not just school. It's not your 8 to 2:30. It's basically 8 to, say, 4 or 5. You have to get involved. That's the big thing here. It's relationships. It's building, you know, the whole school spirit. And there's so many different interests, and there's so many activities that anyone can do, whether you are academic or in athletics, whether you just want to try something different. There's so many different clubs and activities here, and you have to get involved. That's the biggest thing. I remember coming in here, we had a big pep rally, and they would say, you have to be involved. You can't just go to school and leave, and that's it. That's not what Xaverian is. Xaverian is a community. It's not just a school, not just education, it's a community. And that's what's expected here. And I think if your sons do that, they will love it. I mean, they will love everything they do. They'll be able to get out of their comfort zone because, again, without the other genders here, they can kind of get out of their comfort zone. You know, you might do something where you may not want to do because there are females here. And here, everybody jumps at like the XLI or the campus ministry. It's just a very good social type of environment, but you're learning stuff, and there's still values in here that you don't really realize. And one story I remember is, you know, the biggest thing for me was, you know, the dress code, right? I just hated the dress code, and, you know, oh, I gotta wear a collared shirt, and you can't wear jeans, and, you know, it was a big thing. And you get used to it. I mean, that's just the way it is. And once you get used to it, you actually realize, you know, now, as I get older, I get more conservative or whatever, it's like, my God, how can you go to school in a t-shirt and, you know, jeans or whatever? It's just, I guess that's just the way it is now, and that kind of was instilled in me early on without me knowing that, you know? I think that, again, the community service is a big part as well. We look at the whole person, as we talked about here, and I really think that one of the big priorities here at Xaverian is the community service. It's not only expected for you to participate, but it's also expected that you understand why we're doing that, and the values that brings upon us, and, you know, the appreciation of what parents are doing for you, what other people do, and how fortunate you are to be in a situation. And like Matt said too, it's like, don't sweat the small stuff, right? It's tough when you're going involved, you get involved, and in this day and age, everything's hustle bustle, and everything's so cutthroat. And I feel like even today, as a parent, and kind of understanding with Justin and his friends and stuff, it's not really a cutthroat environment here. Yeah, it's competitive. It should be competitive. Okay, it's human nature. But it's not as cutthroat as other environments I've seen in the past. And I think that's another, you know, positive thing here is that they're always supportive. All the members of your classmates are supportive with you. It's that whole school spirit thing. But it's also expected that you help out the underclassmen. As I said in here, it's like, you know, the seniors and the juniors were in the freshmen and sophomores' seats. So they understand, and it just comes from the top, you know. If you're treated properly as a freshman, as a sophomore, then you should do the same thing for everyone else. And I really think that really kind of, it really has, they've done a good job here overall. It's been consistent. It's been, since I was here 30 years ago, it's been the same philosophies, same values. And I think that that is really what differentiates a lot of schools, or this is Xaverian from a lot of schools. This is informative. My wife and I will be obviously at the cookies and brownies session there, but if you have questions, there are plenty of administrators here that can answer any question that you have, and hoping the majority of you guys will select Xaverian. So thanks for having us.